Thank you. We're up against a tight deadline to clear out, so we've got about 10 minutes for questions. I'm going to open it up, and we do ask that only credentialed journalists ask questions, please.
Yes, I'd like to talk to Dr. Paul. This is Maria Recio with McClatchy Newspapers. Is it your understanding that Mr. Barr and the Libertarian Party have signed off on all of these principles? Because he has scheduled a press conference later, and when I arrived, your aide or associate was asking the Barr aide to leave with his materials. So I'm just wondering, how much unity do we really have here?
Actually, the last contact I've heard was, I think, Ralph talked to them. I think you could relay. You talked to a staff person with Bob because there was that rumor going around about it. But you called.
I called Russ Verney, who's the top manager in Bob Barr's campaign, 40 minutes ago, and he said that Bob Barr has established absolute support for this statement. He has worked on it, he has read it, and he, quote, absolutely supports it, end quote. That's Russ Verney, the most authoritative voice for Bob Barr's campaign.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Madison Hartke-Weber, and I'm with the Scholastic Kids Press Corps, and I have a question for Dr. Paul. My question is, why are third-party candidates important?
Why a third-party candidate?
Important.
She asked, why is a third-party candidate important? Well, that's basically what we've gone over. They're important because right now there's only one party. The two parties agree on everything, no change in policy, and they don't deal with the platform of those 4 points that the four candidates have agreed to. And they're important now, and I'm trying to make them more important because the total number is key, and we want to add them up, including those who are disenchanted with the whole system because we are the majority. But we have been conditioned and told endlessly that if you vote for one of these candidates, that you're wasting your vote. And my opinion is exactly the opposite, that the real wasted vote is voting for somebody that you only see will do a little less damage to the country and at the same time agree so much on all the other principles.
Kerry Campbell from Richard Vigueries, thirdpartywatch.com. On thirdpartywatch.com, it's
Excuse
been
me,
proposed
to whom
50
are you addressing the question?
each of you.
Oh, okay.
Each of the candidates. On thirdpartywatch.com, it's proposed that the third party and independent candidates have 50 debates in 50 days. And I have it on good authority that the Independent Greens of Virginia will sponsor the first two. Are you willing to commit to some of that or any of it?
The candidates. Go ahead.
I think 50 might be a bit ambitious.
Well, that would have to be obviously be worked out among our staffs and our travel schedules, et cetera. There's a lot to bring together these candidates, but obviously I think all of us, by virtue of the fact that we've decided to be here, have demonstrated that we are willing to go just about anywhere in front of any audience and discuss the salient issues of the day that are not being discussed by the two major parties. In fact, if you really want some substantive discussion as to the things that are really important today, you just almost going to have to talk to the third-party candidates because the two major party candidates are avoiding the subjects altogether.
I think I speak on all of us. We refuse to be marginalized. We are on enough electoral college ballots to theoretically win the election. And as Congressman Paul said, that should entitle us to be on the national debate scene with the other two major party nominees. Nader Gonzalez is coming in on CNN polls at 7% in Pennsylvania, 8% in New Mexico, 8 to 10% in another poll in Michigan, 6% in Nebraska, 7% in Colorado. That's a third seed. At Wimbledon, if you're a 60th seed, you get a chance at center court, don't you? I think we all are entitled to surmounting these enormous ballot access obstacles, which the press seems to be ignoring, a major civil liberties problem, in this country. what good are voter rights without candidate rights to get on the ballot and give them choices? We know the Kremlin had a 97% turnout in voting, but everybody chuckled back here because there's only one candidate on the line, and gerrymandering ends up with one effective candidate in over 90% of the House of Representatives districts. It's a disgrace what's going on here. I think that the networks should sponsor their own debates. I think a coalition of veteran groups should sponsor their own debates. They wanted to sponsor one at Fort Hood in Texas and allow other than just the major candidates on the stage, and the major candidates stopped that one. Google had scheduled a debate rather in New Orleans on September 18th, and Mr. Obama refused to go along with that. I mean, why are we rationing debates in this country? We don't ration weather reports or entertainment or sports, and so we've got to break the grip of this so-called debate commission. It was just a private company created by the two parties to exclude all competition, as discussed in detail on opendebates.org, which is the chief critical website on this. So we don't want to be marginalized. I know your question is asked with good intent. We want to be part of the debate with John McCain and Barack Obama, and that's what we're pressing for. Thank you.
Congressman Paul, Andy Sullivan with Reuters Wire Service. Question for you. You are on the ballot in Texas running for re-election to Congress this year as a Republican. Doesn't that conflict with your call for voters to vote for third-party candidates?
He wonders whether me running for re-election as a Republican is in conflict with what I'm doing here. I don't think so. Where is it written into our platform or into the Constitution that you can't have a dissenting view and decide not to vote for a particular candidate? I mean, I've been elected 10 times, and I don't have an opponent this time. I may, after today, have a write-in opponent or something. But no, I don't see that as a conflict at all. Like I indicated in my earlier statement, that if the Republicans are unhappy, they ought to look at what I'm doing, because I think what I'm doing is helping them as much as I'm hurting them, because I don't believe I'm hurting them. And besides, they ought to ask the question, why is it that these several million people who are interested in my campaign are mostly under 25? I mean, wouldn't you think that if you were running a program and you thought we would have to build the group and young people love it, wouldn't you think, well, we better ask, what is it in the message? And I think we've just talked about the message. Thank you.